Hey everybody, I'm Lori Sulpizio, and today we're going to talk about how to manage imposter syndrome. You've probably heard of it, you might have even felt it. It's that deep feeling that you don't belong and that others are going to discover that you don't belong. By definition, an imposter is a person who pretends to be someone else in order to deceive others, especially for fraudulent gain. I think it's important to know that this is a tendency, not a trait. And because of that, we can shift out of that tendency. So I'm going to tell you how to do that. And I'm going to give you some specific action items that you can do so you can practice strengthening your mindset and preventing those feelings of being an imposter. Dealing with imposter syndrome comes down to two things. One is your belief that you belong where you are. And two, your belief in your ability to do whatever it is you're doing in that space. Essentially, it's knowing that you're the real deal. At the core of this is shifting your mindset so you don't get overcome by the feeling or the thoughts that you're a fraud.
Much of it is what you practice telling yourself.
So what do we do to prevent those feelings that we don't belong, that we're not good enough to be where we are, and that people are going to find out at any moment? Well, number one, stop comparing yourself to others. Stay in your own lane. When we judge our own worth and our own effectiveness in relation to others, it doesn't do us any good because we don't know what others have done to get to where they're at. We don't know what they're thinking. We don't know what they're doing. There's so much to the backstory of other people's lives that we don't know. And so we get ourselves all upset comparing ourselves to others and judging ourselves thinking we're not as smart as that person. We don't work as hard as that person. They do all these things that we don't do. And really, we don't even know if those things are true. The other part is we don't have any control over anything else but ourselves. And so it is a useless endeavor to judge our lives and look in somebody else's lane when really the only lane we're responsible for is our lane. So when you start to focus on your own lane and your own self and your own life and your own choices, you can then put your energy and attention on those things, on your life. You can then improve yourself if you need to improve yourself. You can celebrate the things that need to be celebrated. But at the end of the day, you're only thinking about you and your ability. Okay, two action items here. One, journal every day about the things that you are accomplishing and doing well. Focus on you and how you're growing in your life. Number two, limit time on social media. Social media is a comparison trap. Don't get stuck in it. Second thing that you can do to manage imposter syndrome is prioritize effort, not outcome. We cannot control the outcome no matter what you do. You can't be certain of an outcome. So the outcome cannot be the measure of our worth. We should be celebrating the process, our commitment to doing our best, to putting in effort, to showing up. When we value our effort, we give ourselves permission to show up and just do our best. We don't expect anything else from ourselves. So we can go into an environment and still maybe be a little nervous about it and be a little bit uncertain. And those things are actually all okay, but we don't doubt our worth to be there. That's the place where imposter syndrome really gets us, is when it tells us you shouldn't be here. You're not worthy of doing what you're doing with these people that are trying to do it with you. That's what we have to shut down. And so when we focus on process, we're telling ourselves, look, I'm coming in here, I'm gonna go for it. Whatever happens, happens. I'm not attached to being the best. I'm not going to expect I'm going to be the worst. In fact, it's not even about those two things. I'm just going to show up and I'm here, and that's all I can ask of myself. So here's the action item. I want you to actually write down the effort you want to make before you go into your next big event or big experience. So maybe you have a big meeting, and the effort that you want to give is just to listen deeply and be ready to share your ideas on the topic. Maybe you're a young professional at a conference with all these other senior people around you, and so the effort you're going to make is just to introduce yourself and have some conversations with other people at the conference. It doesn't matter if those conversations are good. It doesn't matter if they become future connections or lead to any future gain. That's not the point. The point is just you showing up and being all in. So you might notice that strengthening and shifting the mindset is internal work. And so a lot of these action items are journaling and reflecting, and that's what's going to get you there. Getting in the practice of writing things down is so important because it helps these ideas become more concrete, and it will solidify these thought processes in your head. Okay, number three, recognize the impact of systemic bias. Here's the thing. You're not the problem. One of the challenges with imposter syndrome is it puts the onus of the problem on the person, and it really minimizes the structures and the systems that we work in. We don't just wake up one day and decide to tell ourselves that we're no good. We've been given that message from external sources. And for some of us, it's our family of origin, teachers, coaches. And the bummer is that for certain groups like women and people of color, as you go through life and get into organizations, you continue to get that message. You look around and you don't see people who look like you occupying the highest roles. You might continually get interrupted or have your work undervalued. And that's hard. And it's hard not to think, gosh, do I really belong here when I'm not being valued and I'm not feeling seen? So part of what I'm offering you is to give yourself a break. You're not the problem in this. And it's really hard to change the system, but just the awareness that that doesn't help and it actually diminishes the presence and the existence of so many people in the workplace allows us to give ourselves a little bit of latitude and grace, and we can extend some self-compassion to ourselves as we're going through navigating some of these feelings that manifest negatively inside of us. So the action item here is to, next time you're in a situation where you start to feel some self-doubt, just ask yourself, are there biases here? Where are the places that I'm fighting a system that actually isn't set up to help me succeed, and I'm having to work harder just to be here and do my work? And when you recognize that, give yourself a little pat on the back. Okay, the fourth one, get in there and take up space. Our idea that we don't belong comes from society's view and other people telling us that we weren't smart enough or strong enough or whatever enough, and it's just not true. And sometimes we think that everybody's looking at us and wondering, why is she here? What's she doing here? And the reality is, they're not. If you want to go to the gym and go into the free weight sections, just go. If you want to be part of the group of people who have more experience or even more formal education, just get in there and do it. We make up these absurd rules and guidelines for who gets to be included and who should be sitting at the table, and it's just so silly. So we need to practice getting into those areas and taking up our space. So the action item here, next time you find yourself wavering on a decision because you think you're not good enough or you don't deserve to be there or don't belong there, just go do it. Remember, it's not the outcome. You may go into that adventure and really fail miserably in terms of the outcome, but the fact that you went in and showed up, that's the success.
So with all the practice of just going into the room that you weren't supposed to be in and being there and occupying those seats, imposter syndrome it's a thing in your head.
Remember that feelings of being an imposter are just that. They're feelings, they're thoughts, they're inside of us. So we can strengthen our mindset, develop a practice that still encourages us to take risks, to focus on the process, to stop comparing ourselves to others, to understand systemic bias, and then just go do it. It does get easier with experience and with age, so hang in there based on where you are in your life. But know that just the awareness of these feelings inside you is a first step, and now your opportunity is to start to fine-tune your thoughts and move away from some of these feelings that get in your way. Thank you so much for being here. I know your time is valuable. If you're one of those people that likes concrete lists, I've got a free PDF with some journal questions that'll help guide you shifting your thoughts away from imposter syndrome. And so you can check that out in the description below. If this video was helpful, pass it on and share it with somebody who you think needs it. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you next time.